Good morning. It's me, Pearl, and this is Tuned In Tarot. And we are about to take a look at the divine masculine and the divine feminine balance inside of ourselves, knowing that whatever state these energies are in, we can expect to see reflected back to us in our outside world. And if we need changes in our environment, changes from the people that we're interacting with, we have to go within, look at this energy, figure out how we need to shift and change, and then watch that happen around us because it's going to be reflected back to us. It's amazing and difficult. Let's not pretend it's easy. So we had a tough reading yesterday. We had tough energy. I don't know what I'm looking at today, but I'm looking at the divine feminine going first this morning because she has more of her cards showing than divine masculine today. So she's taking the lead. All right. I think this is good. The top of the deck, overall headspace for the divine feminine is the 10 of Swords, but it's in its reversal. So we have an individual who has just experienced a painful ending or painful separation, or has been experiencing a painful separation for some time. And there's been some kind of an ending, or there is an impending ending. That into lyrics for sure. So some kind of impending separation, or end of separation rather. So this is the forefront of her mind. She's processing the pain that she's gone through, whether constant or recent, and how there's been some kind of this, there's an end to this. It's not going to be like this anymore. And she's holding on to that. That's kind of like her strength today as she wakes up and faces the day. That is what I see. The niggling thought in the back of her mind is the Knight of Cups in reverse. So in her own energy, we feel overwhelmed, right? Because this is a knight who's not overwhelmed by that tidal wave that's coming towards him, who's able to express what's in his cup despite being in this really extraordinarily watery Pisces energy. But we have this in reverse. So we have her the kind of thing that I'm thinking about is, I've said before that the divine feminine is in a place where she's realizing that she does not know how to receive this cup. She wanted the cup, she asked for the cup, she begged for the cup, but in her mind, in the back of her mind, she is kind of ruminating over this idea that maybe she doesn't really know how to receive a cup like this. And maybe it was a lot more overwhelming and frightening than she realized. And the divine masculine not being here and expressing and sharing all of that with her, maybe that's about her and not about divine masculine at all, but about her willingness to receive this rather overwhelming experience of love, which she's not experienced like that before. So the painful ending, the 10 of Swords energy, the end, it's about realizing that it's here because of an inability to receive more than it is from the divine masculine's inability to give. And that's a lot to have in the front and back of your mind. The first thing on divine feminine's mind is 5 of Pentacles. There she is, back in the 5 of Pentacles. I don't feel this is about lack mentality in terms of abundance at the moment, although it can be for some. I feel strongly it's that lack mentality in regards to where's the love? Where's the love? Being outside in the cold, not able to accept this cup, not seeing the cup brought to you, not knowing why. There's a like being outside in the cold feeling of like, but why? Why am I out here and there's this warmth in there? And why was this door closed to me? Like, why? And thinking, well, it has something to do with this inability on my part to receive this cup. And being out here in the cold, not knowing what's going on, not having an understanding for why you're being treated this way. The thing is, there's an ending to that. This 5 of Coins energy that has haunted us for so long, this cycle is complete. Because there is a realization here for as long as you are out in the cold, that you are keeping yourself out in the cold. That you are not open to receiving what you're asking for. And this ending, this completion, is that you are feeling this fulfillment in yourself. And we saw this yesterday in the energy. So we've got 5 of Pentacles and we've got the World. We've got the 10 of Swords in reverse, which is the painful ending, the end of a painful ending, right? And then we have the theme for Tuned in Tarot this month, the Lovers, in its reversal. So there's a feeling I'm having from Divine Feminine that she believes that this being out in the cold energy, being blocked from being able to be in this Lover's energy, this is actually what is ending. 5 of Pentacles is over. No more of this. There's no more lack mentality. There's no more not knowing how to receive this cup. That is done. And she is done blocking herself from being able to come into union in herself and to being able to come into physical union and see those manifestations and experience that joy and fulfillment that comes from being able to be in union with that thing that you are wanting to align with. 9 of Cups in reverse. 9 of Cups, we know when we see the 9 of Cups, we're getting this wish fulfillment, whatever the wish is. Divine Feminine's not really clear in this reading about what her wish is. So maybe it's getting clear about what she really wants that is important in order to identify what it is that will open her up to receiving this Lover's energy. But she is having this feeling, this 9 of Cups feeling about this 5 of Pentacles, which is there's this greediness, there's a hoarding of emotion, there's a hoarding of feelings, wealth, whatever. She feels like this is being held back from her. And there's a Divine Masculine there looking pretty satisfied. So there's the feeling that this Divine Masculine hoards from her, withholds his feelings, and keeps her constantly out in the cold, in the darkness, where she doesn't know what exactly is going on with him. And this is what she's wanting to end. She wants to stop being in any kind of relationships in this Lover's energy where with withholding, hoarding, greedy energy. She wants to move out of that. She wants to move out of this confusion. This is the cycle that is ending for her, is a cycle of not knowing what to do, not knowing which opportunities are appropriate for her, not being able to focus on herself, but focusing instead on all of these other outside things that will not end her cycles because they just keep perpetuating. She keeps, focusing her energy here, focusing her energy here, focusing her energy there, being overwhelmed by feelings, being emotionally reactive, just constantly an emotion machine. But this is ending. The World is here and it is ending this energy for her. She knows that being in this constant state of not clearly identifying what it is that she wants is like fighting against herself. That 7 of Wands energy that just will not kick, like it will not go away. It has haunted us. And it is that energy of standing our ground against opposing forces, fighting off actions against the self, which you might even assume are coming from third-party energy, but really the obstacles in the third party are just obstacles that you're creating in order to have something to fight against. That's like, and what are you fighting against? You're fighting against union. You're fighting against the thing that you wish for. And so this is actually what Divine Feminine wants. She wants an ending to this confusing cycle where she senses that love is coming. She starts to feel it. She starts to believe it. And then she just fights against herself. It's like, no, that's not really happening. Or I misinterpreted that. Or, or it's not exactly what she thinks. And so she feels, so it's not good enough. And then she becomes rigid and dictatorial. That is the headspace. All right. Oh, you gotta be kidding me. Okay, the heart space. Top of the deck, overall heart space for Divine Feminine is the Wheel of Fortune. It is in reverse, though. So we're fighting against our destiny a little bit. We're fighting against our fate. You don't say. Fighting against the twin flame journey? I don't understand. Yeah, you know that. You know you're doing it in your head. I wish I didn't have to do this. I want to be the master of my fortune. I don't want to be at the mercy of the turning of this wheel. I want to be in control. I want to make what I want to happen the way I want it to happen. Your heart space is feeling. So you're feeling resistant to the turning of the wheel. You're feeling resistant to change because this is a big shifting, turning, changing energy. And you understand that resistance indicates, because you're niggling feeling, it indicates that you must go into this Nine of Wands energy. You must isolate yourself. You must heal. You must quarantine. You must be tending to these wounds, because the wounds are what's causing you to fight against the lovers. You've got blockages. You've got things that are blocking you from believing in the possibility that this divine masculine is actually going to manifest. There are blockages in there. You have to get them out. So your heart niggling feeling is urging you. Nine of Wands, baby. Go to the Nine of Wands. Be in that energy. Be in a place where you can recuperate, heal, and tend to those inner child wounds. Do not resist this wheel. Do not resist this change, this shifting of your fates. Do not resist the potential for miracles. Do not resist that you don't know yet what is happening, because nothing is yet set in stone, right? That mutable moon card. Wouldn't be surprised if I saw it today, right? Yes, Seven of Cups in reverse. Look at the union inside of you. You have union. So it's so confusing because you're like, I have union on the inside. Why am I not seeing this union on the outside? It's because you keep asking that question. The Seven of Cups is what is clarifying this Five of Pentacles. And what did I say you were confused about, right? You don't have an idea of what is going on behind this closed door. You don't understand why you're being kept in the cold. You don't understand this lack of abundance that you're experiencing in whatever form, whether it's material or, emotional, spiritual, etc. You're confused about what has put you into this place and how you let yourself get back here, because you have this sense of like, oh, I did this to myself. I let myself get overwhelmed by my emotions. I, was having a hard time choosing exactly what I wanted, because what I wanted was this material thing, and I was trying to want to be in union myself, and it was confusing. And like, your heart space is acknowledging, and your head space is aware that you don't want to be in a cycle of confusion any longer. You don't want to be in the dark, and you're also resisting. When I put that card down, I could just get a sense that you are resisting having a lot of choices too. There is a sense that that as this ends with this particular manifestation of the divine masculine, that your opportunities are going to become available to you. And you are also not wanting those opportunities right now. You're kind of resisting. You're resisting the change. You're resisting this shift in your energy. It's really difficult for you. Seven of Wands in reverse. Your heart is urging you to come out of that Seven of Wands energy. It's mirrored there for you. It's urging you to end the cycle of fighting against yourself, because that is what is blocking this Lover's energy. You are fighting against the part of you that wants to be a man of action, a visionary, a leader, because here's your King of Wands, and it's in its reversal. You don't see your divine masculine in this energy right now because you don't see yourself in this energy right now. You are not taking big actions for yourself. You are not following your passions, your vision fully. You've got one foot in and one foot out, right? You're not fully in it. You're not fully here. You're not fully passionately committed to your vision. And neither is your divine masculine, even if that love for you is strong and eternal. This is your own energy. This is what blocks the Lovers. Not taking these actions for yourself, not standing up for yourself, not holding your vision. Because of this guy, the King of Pentacles. And that is your wish. And you are afraid of what you've wished for, because this physical manifestation of this divine masculine is this fixed, not moving energy, not taking action, not in his King of Wands. He's focused on the material. He's focused on coin, on his work, on the real world. And he's also not presented himself in your headspace as the King of Pentacles. Your heart feels the presence of the specific divine masculine. You're focused on him, which blocks this ability for you to experience this victory. But your victory is here, and it's upright in your heart space, and it's clarifying this. It's clarifying the Seven of Wands energy, the end of being confused, the end of staying closed off to all of your opportunities. That ending of the cycle is the fighting against the self, right? The Seven of Wands. So the victory over oneself, over one's inability to make up your mind and choose yourself and really put yourself at the center, your world, you. And the final clarifier for the Seven of Wands energy is the Queen of Swords. We got a lot of queens and a lot of kings in this reading. The Queen of Swords in reverse. This is what you're fighting against. You're fighting against your lack of strategy, planning, practicality. You're fighting against your reactionary, going into anger, being cutting, being defensive, and being cold. The same energy that you were really chafing against with divine masculine yesterday, your heart is telling you this is the exact thing that you need to fight off in your own self. You need to fight off this aloofness, this iciness, this tendency when you're wounded to retreat, take a stance against opposing forces, cut the divine masculine, cut out. There's an energy of endings, right? That Ten of Swords in reverse, ending. It's over. It's done. This is blocking the energy of the Lovers right now. So you're needing to really heal these wounds to experience this victory that you do desire. All right, let's look at divine masculine. Jeez. Wow. Okay. I almost didn't do the reading today because I have to teach at 11 and I didn't want to feel rushed and I knew what I was going to get. All right. Top of the deck, overall headspace, divine masculine. Seven of Pentacles. Not impatient, but waiting for a return on his investments. Seeds have been planted. He's waiting to see them grow, to turn into something. He's not, like I said, I'm not feeling impatience here, especially because the niggling feeling in the back of his mind, or the niggling thought in his mind, is this is the Magician. He's feeling powerful ability to manifest right now. And he's using the tools that he has in front of him. And he's very much in this energy. But there's also an element here of control too, like manipulating the puppet strings being pulled. So either feeling like his strings are being pulled by Divine Feminine and he needs to shift and pull the strings himself. Just there's something about that I'm also feeling. The first thought in his lovely head is the Eight of Swords. So here we have the self-protection. We've got self-sabotage / reframed as self-protection, because we understand that if we take the shame out of self-sabotage, we can have an understanding of why we're calling on it. It's just a tool that we're using. And our hope is that we're going to protect ourselves from the unknown, from this big change, from these, as much as we claim that we, wow, I'm great with change. I do well with it, whatever. We really resist it. We're afraid of the unknown. We're afraid of what that will bring. And if we want success and that's in our future, then that is an unknown. And so we're afraid of it. So we do these things to protect ourselves from experiencing it. In the Cosmic Tarot, we see the Divine Masculine and the Divine Feminine, and they are in this not very confining little sword prison they can walk right out of. And they are not looking at each other. And all they would have to do is turn around and see each other, and they would just, they'd just be there together in union, in the lover's energy. But neither one of them is looking at each other right now. So this is on the Divine Masculine's mind. He is still protecting himself and the Divine Feminine. And the protection that he has built up around them blocks them from seeing each other. And here's the Moon. Oh, the Moon for this couple. It's such a consistent, powerful message for them. And of course, it's got this Pisces energy and the Cancer energy. It's watery. It's the subconscious. It's the 5D. It's telepathic and dream space communication. And it's about fear and anxieties. And in this case, I think Divine Masculine is feeling afraid of their tendency to do this, to be together and be looking away and not be focused on each other and protect each other from themselves. And he has anxiety and fear about that. But he also has this strong, I have a really strong feeling of peacefulness in the Moon energy for him as well, because they are so cosmically linked. It's like he can constantly return to that space. No matter what is happening here in the 3D between them, he's always finding this solace in that energy in the Moon. And in that moonlight, he feels safer than he does in the sunlight too. He's still hidden enough there, and it makes him feel safe. And then this is in the same position as it was yesterday, which is very telling. This is our Two of Swords, and it's in reverse. And yesterday we didn't really look at the imagery, so I think it would behoove us to really look at it today since it's here again. And this is a really interesting version of the Two of Swords. It's a card that is about being at a standstill, not wanting to make two choices, having two choices to make, and not wanting to make the choice. So you don't make any choice at all. You remain blind. There's the traditional imagery with the blindfold, and there's two swords up, and it's like there's no movement. In this image, the swords have been moved off to the side, and the Divine Feminine is petting a cat. And there's a water behind her. There's, of course, the moon with the two birds flying together. And it's funny because I'm getting this image when Abraham Hicks talks about if you're like upset or if you're disturbed or whatever, like go pet your cat, and that will like zero you out and help you to start to be able to make decisions that are based less on emotional reactivity. That's the thing that's popping into my mind. And this is about this divine feminine not wanting to make a choice, and or her being in this and being defensive, being isolated, not being available. So divine masculine, I see this as him really thinking about her and really not wanting her to make a choice. Yesterday, I didn't see that imagery because it really was about him. He didn't want to make a choice, or he was finally making a choice that he didn't want to make, and we looked at that. But today, this is about her. And here's the Hierophant in reverse. And you know what? I just wrote something down in my daily, when I do daily polls. I'm going to look in the fountain because I read something about the Hierophant in reverse in there, and I was like, oh, that's an interesting thing. Rigidity or stubbornness, fear of change, rejection of traditional beliefs, weakness, a potential liability, and misguided assistance. Yeah, that's a little bit more detail for a reversed Hierophant for you, especially one that is clarifying this 8 of Swords. So, rigidity and stubbornness, 8 of Swords, okay? There is a connection there for that divine masculine between some of the self-sabotaging energy being this rigidity and stubbornness. Feeling weak. There's also, in my interpretation of this card too, because the Hierophant is about legal contracts, it can be about past legal contracts and past marriages, so it can be about divorce or marriage. And rigid belief systems and authority figures. And in this context, I feel is definitely about how he's realizing that he's making this mental connection, that his self-sabotaging energy comes from these rigid belief systems that he's working to release. Like he's starting to really pay attention to what the fuck divine feminine is talking about and doing. And he is starting to really acknowledge these effects that they have had on this union and how he, in his energy, has been blocking the union, just like divine feminine is looking at over on her side, but in his way, right? What's really fascinating about this moon card is that it is clarified by the star. And the star in reverse, so I'm getting a couple layers here. The first layer is this newer perspective I have on the star card, which is the card that when it is in its upright position can be about hope, it's about healing. This divine feminine is doing this work to take the unconscious and pour it into the material world. So it's about manifestation power. It's about illumination, being in a dark place. The star shines and is your beacon in the darkness, etc. Right? It's got all those layers. And it's about your wishes and your dreams, whatever your star is, wishing upon a star. When it's reversed, it can be about having a hard time hanging on to hope, wanting to be hopeful, desiring not to lose hope. But it can also be about this star that was up in the cosmos, coming down and touching down to earth. So achieving what it is that you've wished for here in the material. And it's interesting because as it is clarifying the moon, it's like the moon and the stars, which is ultimately this relationship between these twins is, the star seeds. So it makes so much sense. But it's about this wish of coming out of this 5D energy and being able to manifest in the material world. This is what divine masculine is hoping for. This divine feminine, 2 of swords, I don't want her to choose. This is what he doesn't want her to choose. And this is what she doesn't want to choose either. The 10 of swords. The end. He doesn't want to experience this ending any more than she does. So he's being really hopeful that if he's learning these lessons in that Hierophant energy about his rigidity and his stubbornness, if he continues to hold divine feminine as his healing energy and his star instead of integrating and finding that divine feminine energy inside himself, he's going to continue to sabotage. So he's not wanting to bring this painful ending. He's not wanting divine feminine to choose to walk away from him and make that choice to end the standstill by breaking his heart, right? By leaving, by betraying him and going somewhere else. All right, top of the deck, overall heart space for divine masculine. Ace of Pentacles in reverse. And it's in the vice versa imagery, so we are seeing it on the streets. We could have seen like all of the abundance that went into the creation of the pentacle and that this pentacle brings, etc., this new life, this new growth. But we're seeing this here in the streets. And when it's upright, we're seeing the offer being brought to the 3D in the material and offered to the querent. But in this case, what we're seeing is the heart space is resisting offering this offer. Right underneath is the Queen of Swords, but it's only because I can see that because of the vice versa. So we won't read her, but there she is again. So the offer is not going to the Queen of Swords that is underneath that card. And the niggling feeling in the heart space is the Hermit card. Now, the Hermit is guided. That lantern is the lantern that has like the energy of the star in it. And it's the soul search. It's going within. It's being guided within. And when we look at the side of the card that appeared today, what we see is the imagery from the Moon card. We see those 2 dogs that appear in the Moon card. We see the Moon herself here, this divine feminine. And we see that the Hermit is actually being led on a divine journey to integrate that divine feminine and balance those 2 parts of self and find this loyal companionship. This is in reverse as well, because divine masculine is wanting to come out of this isolated Hermit energy. His niggling feeling is if he doesn't come out of that energy, this ain't going to happen. First thing in his heart is this High Priestess energy. And it is the vice versa imagery. So we could have seen her from the front, but we are seeing her from behind. When we see her from behind, we see the power of the twin flames there. We see them burning very brightly, that they are actually at the back of the pillars that are balanced. The black and white pillars, the polarity energy, the twin energy themselves. And so divine masculine is really trusting his intuition about the power of this twin flame union. He is, however, feeling that it is very difficult to approach this High Priestess at this point, that she has really achieved a level of attainment, and he is not knowing, not feeling he's quite up to that par yet because of the self-sabotaging energy he's engaged in. But he's trusting in the power of this twin flame journey to be able to turn these individuals around so that they can see one another. And the intuition of this Moon card, this is what he's, I can't. We have the Queen of Pentacles. We had her over here too. Do you know what? When I read Divine Feminine, I said this was the King of Pentacles card. It was the Queen of Pentacles card the whole time, which totally changes the meaning of this. So we're going to have to go back and look at that in a second. That's really interesting. Interesting that I read the King of Pentacles. We can see where my ego's mind was. Regardless, this divine feminine is appearing in the Queen of Pentacles energy in divine masculine's heart space, mirroring divine feminine's Queen of Pentacles. That's what you get when you try to read the cards like backwards on the screen. Anyway, so this is clarifying the moon energy, and this is in its reversal. So he's not able to have this divine feminine in the physical. He's relying on this 5D energy to interact with her at this time. And he's afraid that that not being able to approach her, not being able to come before her is an impediment to their future. And he's working on releasing the attachment he has to the physical manifestation, which is great because Divine Feminine did her work regarding that. And I feel like I'm going to sneeze again. This happened to me yesterday during the reading. I hope I don't have a cold. But he is feeling like he is needing to release this attachment to this physical manifestation, to trust in that 5D relationship they have in the moon card energy, and not need her to be physically present in order to feel that spiritual fulfillment. He desires her, and he desires her to be manifest for him, but he understands that he has to do that same work to release this attachment to the specific divine feminine. He's afraid that while he does this work, this divine feminine is going to make a choice to walk away in her single and fabulous 9 of Pentacles energy, to turn her back on him and not wait for him to do that work that he needs to do to be able to stop the self-sabotage and the self-protection stuff and come towards her. But he feels like because of the twin flame journey that he's trusting in, because he has to move into this place where he's comfortable releasing this physical attachment to her, he is not sure that she's going to wait for him. He feels like she might just turn her back and go to someone else in her single energy. And we have Judgment. The Judgment card has hung around. This Judgment card is clarifying the Hierophant in reverse. And it's the side of the card, because we could have seen it this way with this fearsome angelic presence here. Or we could see it this way, where there's like that freedom, that symbol of freedom, salvation that's coming from this. And it's this family too, completely vulnerable. But that vulnerability has allowed them their salvation. It has allowed them to be free. And this is what's blocking, or not blocking. Well, yeah. This is what is clarifying the Hierophant energy. But this past legal contract, which involves the formation of some kind of a family, or this rigid belief structure that was something he was raised with from an inner child state into adulthood. There's some aspect of this rigid controlling system that has been sabotaging him. He feels this third party energy has been sabotaging him. He is experiencing these fears in regards to this, like he's being very critical and very harsh of the experiences that he has that have caused him these wounds for all this time that he's been having to heal. And there they are in union again in their time of healing, in their 9 of Wands energy. Now, Divine Masculine in his 9 of Wands energy, he is concerned about how he appears to this Divine Feminine. He is looking to her to tend his wounds. He's feeling broken and not like he can kind of do this on his own, but that he really wants to be able to do this healing with the divine feminine, except that he doesn't want to appear vulnerable like this to her. He hates that this is how he appears to her, despises that. And this is what's clarifying the star in reverse. So his headspace is actually like, bro, you can't rely on the divine feminine to heal you. You can't. You have to heal yourself. You can seek guidance from her journey. You can learn how she healed herself. You can ask these questions of her, but you cannot rely on her. She cannot be your star. You have to do the healing. But he doesn't want to do that alone. And then we have the Page of Swords in reverse again. So, not feeling brave enough to pick up that new idea, being stuck cycling in the old ideas, but not being ready yet, being too afraid of what is possibly on the other side. If you pick this sword up and run into battle, just hoping, you don't really have any experience, you don't know how to wield it, being afraid that if you pick it up and you try to come towards divine feminine, and in this broken down way that you are in, that you are going to cause this painful ending. And also an awareness that if you don't pick up this new idea, if you don't behave differently, if you don't come towards divine feminine, there's going to be a painful ending, because divine feminine is going to choose to go her own way. Maybe already has chosen to go her own way. So that's where divine masculine is. Deuces. All right. So let's see. Divine feminine. Y'all can't give me like a good reading today. Like, you can't give me like just, bubble gum and candy. Lasai. Alrighty. Divine feminine, you are in the light attributes of the pioneer. So you have a passion for doing and creating what has not been done before. Oh, before we go there, let's talk briefly about the fact that this was the Queen of Pentacles. Because the progression of that story is that the lover's energy was blocked, right? By not taking action, not seeing this man of action, but also if you're not seeing it, you're not doing it. So not taking action, not holding that vision, that power of that vision, being afraid to be a visionary, being afraid to really believe in this connection, being afraid of what's going to happen, and not being brave and trusting in the eternal strength of this lover's union. That was how that King of Wands was appearing. And it was about fighting against your own self, because when you're fighting against this King of Wands not taking action, you're really fighting against yourself. You're blocking yourself. Therefore, your wish that this divine masculine would leave this, that he would stop being in this withholding energy from you, that he would share, that he would express, that you would experience this wish fulfillment of this lovers or whatever. And I interpreted this as being careful what you wish for, and that you were this attachment to the King of Pentacles, but misread the card because it's the Queen. And I just literally didn't see the backwards writing of the Queen. I'm not going to give myself too much shit for that. But as this is the Queen, then what we have here is releasing that King of Wands energy and being in your Queen of Pentacles energy, being in your abundance, being in your fertility, creativity, all these ideas coming through you and from you, building that stable foundation, which is what your victory is. So that part was correct. Your victory is over once you stop fighting against yourself. You can have your wish fulfillment, which is that you will be in your Queen of Pentacles energy. So I'm sure the other interpretation is significant too, for the same reasons. I wouldn't have said it if it wasn't supposed to be said. All right, so passion for doing and creating what has not been done before. So you've got the passion because this King of Wands wouldn't be in your heart if you didn't. But you are blocking yourself from taking action towards this passion. So you're in the light attributes for having a passion for doing and creating what has not been done before. So start to really allow that passion to help you make those changes you need to make to shift into that King of Wands energy. You're also in the light attributes of the rebel, which is challenges authority to effect social change, rejects spiritual systems that do not serve inner needs. So you are a rebel right now. You are in those light attributes. You are not allowing any of the old limiting beliefs that you carried with you to really have power over you. You are tossing out things that don't serve you from past belief systems. Your guardian angel is here to support you in stress management, because this is a stressful time right now, this in-between time as you're really learning how to focus on yourself and release this attachment is very difficult. And so you're being encouraged to engage in a lot of stress management behaviors. Relax, self-care, baths, books, just take a break, take days off of work, do what it is that you need to do to really feel good in yourself. That's so important. Remember, a consistent formula gives me consistent results. Like learning to understand the basics of mathematics and then having the successful experience of understanding the results of their applications. Once you have a formula for understanding your world that is always consistent, it will yield consistent results to you. Now, if you've been watching me for a while, you are probably starting to really believe in the consistency of the formulas that we talk about every day. Because if you feel a little bit better, you start to feel a lot more better. You know that if you can choose a better feeling thought, that you raise up the tone scale. Like, there are some consistent things that we say that as you practice them and start to really, really implement them into your life, you're going to see consistent results in all of the things that you're trying to manifest. There'll always be challenges, because you wouldn't be interested in playing this game if there weren't. But you are really becoming a master and able to get through the levels like much quicker. The energy is gaining momentum. This is like an 8 of Wands kind of a momentum. So the energy is gaining momentum. Things are picking up. Take time to breathe out. So breathing out is expelling all of that waste you don't need anymore. So take the time to breathe out. Let it out. Go into deep meditative states and focus on long out breaths and imagine and envision releasing the hold over you that these attachments have. Mirror. Who or what is triggering you? Well, you saw your mirror all over the spread today, so I think we know who or what is triggering you. But the real power of that card is being mindful that once you understand that what is happening is merely triggering something inside of you that you have shame about, or that you haven't processed, or a belief that you're holding on to that doesn't serve you anymore, you start to be thankful that, it's like having a weird sort of gratitude that Trump was so terrible, because he showed the glaring gaps in our society, in our world. And we're like, oh, there it is, staring me in the face, staring all of he's a mirror for the things that are wrong, the things that need to be sorted, right? You're getting a new card that I haven't had before. Lizard Spirit. Dream the world into being. He's cute. You're getting the protection message, which is, have you been allowing your imagination to run amok and dream up a nightmare that seems to have come true? Fear not. For whatever dreaming you did in the past can change today as you dream anew. Wake up from the perception that everything is wrong. Lizard Spirit asks you to open your eyes and consciously dream a better dream. What would it look like to already have what you desire and be the one you wish to be? How might it feel to work toward co-creating this new dream as a reality in the world of the senses, drawing it out of the world of dreams and building it in the world of form? Trust in your ability to dream anew and honor it today. Okay, that's very powerful. I even just had a conversation with a friend last night about how she felt like she was in a nightmare and she was just wanted to wake up. So wake up from the perception that everything is wrong. Consider that everything right now might be right. And then imagine what you would like from this moment and start to co-create that reality in the world of in the senses by drawing it from the world of dreams. Very good advice, Colette Baron-Reed. All right, let's take a look. Divine Masculine, you got all of the archetypes today and a bunch of Moonology, so you needed help. I mean, y'all need help. Okay. Divine Masculine, you're in the shadow attributes of the healer right now. You need to come into the light. It is taking advantage of those who need help and failing to care for oneself. So I sense that you are failing to care for oneself and that you need to have a passion to serve others by repairing the body, mind, and spirit and the ability to help transform pain into healing. So you need to take the pain you're feeling, transform that into healing, and work on your body, mind, and spirit. You've got that magician energy. You have the power to do that right now, so use it. Uh-oh. Here's the addict. Divine Masculine, you are in the shadow attributes of the addict, which is compromises integrity and honesty and allows an addictive pattern to have authority over your inner spirit. And so you want to call in the light, which is helps you recognize and confront addictive behavior. The thing I was really drawn to in this card today was allows an addictive pattern to have authority over your mind and spirit. Because that is a habit, right? So you've just gotten into some kind of a spiritual habit. And it could be manifesting as a physical one, but this habit is how you have been engaging with divine feminine. And you need to confront that, recognize and confront that behavior. The Avenger in the shadow attributes, which is resorting to violence in the name of a cause. We saw that recently. And the light attributes are desire to balance the scales of justice and of righteousness on behalf of society or oneself. There's a map here, like a traveling thing. I think what I'm seeing is that in order to protect yourself, there's this like cape, this energy of protection. You resorted to a side of your personality that was harsh or cruel, King of Swords energy. And you did that in the name of a cause, which was to protect yourself and divine feminine, right? But you need to come into the lights, which is balancing the scales of justice between the two of you and having righteousness on behalf of society or yourself. So not resorting to those underhanded or cruel or malicious kinds of reactions that you might have when you feel some type of way about divine feminine. And when you want divine feminine to leave you alone, instead of just asking her in a respectful way to do that, it seems you go into some kind of these like this cruelness, like throwing a stone at a dog. That was an image that I was talking about last night with a friend. The idea that like in Game of Thrones, when Arya wants Nymeria to run away so that Nymeria isn't killed by stupid ass Cersei, she throws stones at Nymeria until the dog flees. It's like that. It's like if you hurt her enough, maybe she won't keep coming back to you, and you can kind of like blame it on that, and also you need space. And so you're just trying to create that space, but you're resorting to cruel methods to do that. Your guardian angel is here to support you in practice, in this idea that practice makes perfect, and that you might be feeling like this isn't good enough for divine feminine, but you have been working on healing your inner child wounds. You're not perfectly healed. You're not perfect. Neither is this divine feminine. She doesn't look perfect to me. So it's this idea that you are practicing, you are healing, you are taking your time. You don't have to be fully healed to come into physical union. You have to be in union in yourself, but you don't have to be like, everything doesn't have to be all sorted in order for you to come together. You can work on these things together. I am a vibrational transmitter and receiver. In every moment, you are broadcasting a very specific vibrational signal that is instantly being understood and answered, and immediately your present and future circumstances begin changing in response to the signal you are projecting. The entire universe right now is being affected by what you are offering. Period. So, whatever signal you're broadcasting, the universe is instantly understanding it and answering it. And your present and future circumstances are changing to signal what you're projecting. There's a buffer of time. It's not immediate, but there is a buffer of time. So it's not like if you think one bad thought, then suddenly that's going to happen. It's the detail. You have to tune into the station. You have to be broadcasting, right? You can't have a weak signal. But when you have a strong signal for something, the universe is absolutely changing in response to that signal you're projecting. So right now, the entire universe is being affected by what you are currently offering. So wherever you currently are in your transmission. So if your current transmission is not a good one, change the frequency. Tune in. All right. Emphasis, 3 Moonology cards, all emphasize. We've got the end of a tough cycle approaches Capricorn energy. Capricorn energy is current energy right now. So this is the end of a tough cycle is here. We saw the world 2 times in 2 days. The end of a cycle is here. Ooh, you got this again. The void of course moon. Nothing will come of this situation. Whatever fear you have, it's just like this emphasis. Nothing will come of that fear, bro. Nothing will come of the thing that you're afraid of. That moon energy, whatever you're fearing, nothing will come of that. Let it go, man. A fiery climax approaches. And this, when I get reversals on cards that say approaches, my interpretation of that is a fiery climax is here. It is here, right here, available to you. Inner temple, devotion, tune in to the portal of your heart. So that high priestess energy is being emphasized for you in your oracle messages today. Look how similar that feels. High priestess, tune in. Be in that intuition. Tune into that portal of your heart, which tells you powerfully about that twin flame union. And then we have cutie little bat spirit, and he's in his protection message energy. So let's take a look at him. A rebirth is assured. That is what his message is. The protection message, divine masculine, is the following thing. What are you refusing to let die? Bat spirit is gently nudging you to let go of your need to cling to the familiar story that has already run its course. A new story is poised to be born. Some dreams were only meant to last for a moment in time. Sometimes they were only there to slow you down as you recalibrated in preparation for the new life that will give you what you really want. Perhaps you need to grieve as you say goodbye to something. At least you're saying goodbye to its familiar form. Perhaps you must let go of a part of you that must die so you can be reborn. This temporary time in the dark doesn't have to be scary or sad, though. Bat Spirit gives you her powers of perception and awareness as you learn to listen deeply and navigate these unknown caves of temporary emptiness. You will emerge with a new perspective, and Bat Spirit will witness your giving birth to the life that matches the intentions and desires of your heart and soul. I couldn't have said it better myself. What are you afraid to let die, Divine Masculine? You're clinging. Let go. All right. For the couple. I got a doozy coming for one of my followers here. Prepare yourself. But also, this is for both the Divine Feminine and Divine Masculine, messages for the both of you. First one up. The light attributes of the Judge. You are both in the light, balancing justice and compassion and managing the fair distribution of power. So, in taking back your power, Divine Feminine, you have started to balance your masculine worth energy. Divine Masculine, in realizing the power of the intuition in your heart space and following your heart, you are balancing the Divine Feminine. So you are both in this place of balancing justice and compassion and managing a fair distribution of power so that neither one of you is feeling lorded over by the other. You are getting an emphasis on this message of higher education. Now, this is just like the Hierophant in reverse, which was there for the Divine Masculine. So here we have it again. So when I get it in this oracle form and in its reverse, I usually interpret it as being an emphasis on like you're graduating, whatever. But I actually feel like what I'm seeing here is you're being supported in the fact that you haven't finished learning your lessons yet. You are still learning, and you're being supported in that energy by your guardian angels. They are preparing you to receive this diploma. This is the one. Don't kill me. It is 44. I will reach for the best feeling thought I have access to. Do not kill me. I am just the messenger. Always be reaching for the feeling of relief that comes when you release a more resistant thought and replace it with a more allowing, better feeling thought. The stream of well-being is always flowing through you, and the more you allow it, the better you feel. The more you resist, the worse you feel. So you can always reach for a better feeling thought. Sometimes it feels good to bask in sadness or worry or depression. Sometimes it feels good to like ugly cry and let yourself be deep in a wallowing kind of energy and go into grief or loneliness or fears and just like let it flow through you. That's definitely something that you should allow to happen to you because you need to feel your feelings. But when the tap starts to close and that emotion and that outpouring starts to lessen, and you move into a place where there's almost like an apathy that kind of settles in. That's the zone where you either spiral down into a deeper, darker depression, or you reach for a better feeling thought. And as soon as you get that smallest thought of relief, another one like it comes, and then another, and then another, and then another, and then another, and you find your way back. So allow yourself grief. Don't feel like you can't grieve or you can't be sad. Don't force that sadness either. If you're not sad, don't be like, why am I not sad? I don't know. Go with it, right? You're not sad because you're not afraid. You're not afraid that there's something that you've lost. Don't be afraid of that feeling. Don't be afraid of that change. Don't be afraid that you feel enough without a King of Wands taking action. Let that be what you feel. But if you are down in the dumps and you are not feeling good and you are ready to start coming out of it, just reach for the whatever thought it is that feels better than the one you're thinking now. If you're thinking I'll always be alone, think, I probably won't always be alone. That's a better feeling thought. It's not a great one. It wasn't like dessert after an amazing dinner. It was just, you probably won't always be alone. I'm sure I'll meet someone. And then, you know, just keep climbing up that scale. Divine couple, bring love into the situation always. Love is always a better feeling thought as well. Play. Have fun. Don't be so serious. The best medicine for heartbreak and pain and frustration and not getting what you want, the best medicine is just laughing, making fun, having jokes. It is, because the primal part of your brain can't process humor. So when you have the ability to laugh and experience comedy, you're immediately moving up into the higher part of the brain. That's just not going to be surging with all those hormonal drives of like anger and vengeance and jealousy and all of those primal urges. The part of the brain that processes humor is above that. So it allows you to get into that better feeling state. Oh, we have Badger Spirit for Emily if she's watching today. Be fearless and bold. We're getting the protection message. When Badger Spirit comes to protect you, he reminds you that anger or aggression, argumentative behavior, and being pushy or manipulative will not result in a positive outcome. What? It won't? It won't? Perhaps someone close to you has excess Badger energy, or perhaps that energy is pent up in you. Either way, now is the time to calm down and allow the energy to pass through you. Go for a hike or a brisk walk, shake it off, or dance it out so you can return to the situation determined and committed, but not so intense that you overwhelm others and yourself. The appearance of Badger Spirit also serves as a reminder if you have been relentlessly pursuing something that keeps eluding you. The message is that it's time to surrender it up to your higher power and focus on something else. Badger Spirit wants to protect you from self-will run rampant, from being obsessed with getting what you want in the form you prefer, in timing that fits perfectly with your notions of what has to be. Remember, the world doesn't revolve around your wants. Better, more beautiful opportunities will be the result when you release some of that Badger Spirit intensity along with your need to have it and to have it your way 100%. Damn. All right. Red to Filth by Badger Spirit card today. Rude. Okay. We will close the reading out with this goddess, Inanna. Remember that practice after you find out the goddess for today, you can put your hands over your heart and say, my heart is the heart of the goddess, and start to not emerge, but what word do I want to say? I don't know, but integrate, that works, with that divine feminine energy. So this goddess, she is the ancient Sumerian mother goddess, both the protector of grain and the queen of heaven. She combines earth and sky. Powerful, self-sufficient, passionate, and many-sided, she is a fertility goddess as well as the source of the earth's wells, springs, and rivers. Each year, Inanna descends to the underworld to resurrect her consort Dumuzi. At each of the 7 gates, she leaves one of her garments behind, until naked she meets her sister Ereshkigal, queen of the underworld. Ereshkigal kills Inanna and hangs her on a hook until Inanna herself is resurrected and returns to life. Inanna is a representation of the many facets that go into being feminine, as well as a guide into the dark places of psychological and spiritual death and disintegration. All right. Gets hung on a hook. Does not sound fun. Kind of feels like my heart right now. Okay, so I hope you have a good day today. I hope you take heart and have fun and laugh and do fun things and still have a good life, whether you're on your own or with this divine counterpart that you're so attached to and so intensely desiring on your own timeline. Let it go. Put it down and walk away and focus on the completion of these cycles inside of self by healing the wounds that are there. Your divine masculine is not responsible for your wounds. He's just reflecting back to you the things that make you remember them and trigger them, etc. Right? The divine feminine is not responsible for your wounds. She is reflecting back to you where those wounds are inside of you and helping you figure out where they come from. But they don't come from her. They come from something that happened within you. And it is your job to go within and figure that out. And divine feminine is on that same journey. That is why you keep coming back here every day to see where the energy is. And it is because you so intensely desire to be together, which is beautiful because that is about love. But really true love begins with loving the self, begins with understanding that that extension that we're looking at, that physical manifestation, it is really just ourselves reflected back to us. We're incredibly narcissistic, it turns out, but we're built in the image of God. If he built this whole thing in the image of himself, then I guess we're going to be narcissistic. Oneness inside of self. Oneness. It's difficult to understand. It's difficult to articulate. But once you feel it happen, it starts to make sense. It starts to become the thing that you are addicted to, the thing that does feel like it's the most important thing. And you can see how that achieving that inside of you really does start to ripple into your life, into others' lives. My parents, who live in northern New York and are not in tune with a lot of what I talk about, even though I can't really have this conversation with, although I did cards for my mom recently and she was very open and receptive to it. And I was having this experience of being like, wow, it's like, I never would have pictured my parents being like open to this. My dad does yoga and stuff. Like, he voted for Trump, like, again, So it's just sort of like, wow, weird. But they see you thriving. They see that what is happening for you is positive. They see you on a journey that seems to be taking you in a direction that is really bringing you into your power. And there is power in that. That's why Christ was, oh, by the way, I don't know if y'all know this, Christians, but Christ was like, not like, hey, go conquer places and force them to believe in me. He was like, just live by example, and people will be like, hey, what are you doing? And you'll be like, oh, I follow the teachings of this dude named Jesus. He was pretty dope. He said some stuff about love and loving yourself. And he didn't actually say anything about violence or homosexuality or abortion or anything, just so you know. But mainly he was just talking about loving yourself. Anyway, so have a good day. I love you all. Take care. Subscribe, share. If you need help, tunedintarot@gmail.com. I can do readings for you. We'll get you sorted. And stay tuned for fun and interesting things as they unfold in the spontaneous Leo way that they do on this account. Take care, everybody. Have a good day today.